Like its reality is, there's no other way to actually attribute reality. Like it filters through human consciousness. No.
Welcome back to Lucid Logos. And if you're anything like me, you're trying to figure out what reality is and what God is. Consciousness generates reality. Reality does not generate consciousness. Consciousness is God's presence in our life. There's only one consciousness. We all share it. That's why we look at the one reality through multiple perspectives. That's why we have our own individual minds. But watch what it is here that Jonathan Pageau and John Vervaeke are trying to wrestle with. And all they have to do is just understand that consciousness is fundamental and everything gets resolved. So let's get right into it.
But if I understand man as such, man as the intelligent one who's able to properly discern patterns, then when man discerns a pattern, that pattern is real. Like it's even though it's grounded through us, like its reality is, there's no other way to actually attribute reality. Like it filters through human consciousness.
No.
Drop that bomb on
No. That would be, there's an identity, right? There's an identity, and I hear, and the thing I said to Mike is, okay, I get what you're saying. You know, it's multi-level. There's a continuum, but you know, do you know what a Sorites paradox is?
No.
I have a heap of sand. I remove one grain, right? And so I can remove if I remove a grain and it doesn't turn a heap into a non-heap, I can remove all the grains and there's still a heap there, which makes no sense, which is different.
Unless you recognize that consciousness is fundamental and all the grains of sand is this entire reality. And the heap itself is consciousness. And so if you try to find identity in any individual grain of sand, you're not going to find it. You find the identity in the heap.
Differences of degree have to become differences of kind, or you fall into Sorites paradox. Mm-hmm. So we've been sort of emphasizing what is the same, but presumably there's something different. And I hear you saying something like that, Jonathan. There's a difference in kind about human beings. And I wonder if that, I mean, it's not the same, but I wonder if there's a potential convergence between arguments I've made about the sort of self-consciousness that's available to persons seems to only exist at one level. You can drop below it and you start to lose it, and you go above it and you start to lose it. So
remember, the human being is one of the images, and the whole reality is the image of God. But the human being specifically is the closest image to God. And that's why we have rational minds, we reason, we love, we have judgment, we have fear. All of these things is because consciousness is the presence of God in our life. That is true identity.
St. Maximus has this crazy saying, which is he says that the reasons for things, right, the logi, the reasons, the purposes, they are multiple and truly multiple, but they're also one.
Yes,
it's also just the divine logos. Like it's all the divine logos, like reflected in myriads of ways all through the system. And so this idea, like Eckhart, it's an idea that in some ways that all, that the eye is also the eye of God looking back, and that all multiplicity is always in some ways, and so, but if you think of the God-man as being the top of that, it makes everything really fascinating to consider in terms of understanding how that reflects in what you said, which is that in some ways maybe there is a kind of self-consciousness of corporate beings, but it's filtered through us.
Okay, so I'm going to stop the video there. But again, I'm just going to leave you with this. There is one reality. That reality is consciousness or God. God then dreams up the entire world in its multiplicity. Many, many images. The best image is the human being. And so consciousness is grounded in the human being. Anyway, I think you guys get the point. I appreciate it if you stuck around this far. Let me know if you have any questions, if I can clarify anything and make it a little bit more clear for you guys. But I would appreciate any likes, all the subs you guys can give me, and I'll catch you in some of my upcoming videos.